Hello, everyone. This is September 2nd, 2020, and our full moon ceremony, and the theme is purification. So when I was doing my research, I wanted to know what is coming up with the energy and just to see different people's perspectives, experts. And there is someone that I follow, Ange Stoic, and he has a way of describing astrologically what's coming up in a very matter-of-fact kind of way. I then listened to Lee Harris, and his way of describing it is more applying it to everyday life. How is that going to look in my life? And then the third is Dale Osadchuk, and she's a colleague of mine from way back. And she speaks in metaphors. So I thought those three different perspectives might be helpful in figuring out what it is, the next steps for you. So Ange Stoic talks about that this is the time of conscious awareness, where the issues are hidden or they're at an unconscious level. So what we find is that stuff bubbles up to the surface. And this could look like old events past in your life, people, situations that you've been in. And you might think to yourself, I thought I dealt with that. And I think this is just a way of the last vestiges that are sort of hidden deep within come to the surface for you to take a look at and let go of. He also talks about rational linear thinking. And that really is challenged these days because it's just unpredictable. So we may find ourselves on an emotional roller coaster. I keep talking about waves. You know, we get up on the crest of the wave and we say, oh, this is okay, I've got this. And then down into the trough and you think, oh, what am I going to do now? So it just seems that logical discernment is very intense. And it's very difficult, or challenging, I should say, to be discerning at this time. So what we have are two sides, the Virgo and Pisces. And Virgo is the expert. They like to be practical, data-based, decision-making. The other side is more prone to find its way through instinct, dreams, vibes, and actually fantasizing. And those two sides can't seem to manage to come together. Now, Virgo is more like, if you work with eternal patterns, is more like structure. And Pisces is more like aesthetics. So they really can't seem to come to terms with each other. They each have a very different way of looking at things. And so there's constantly conflict between the two. So Virgo is analyzing to the nth degree, refining, scrutinizing, methodical, creating something that is orderly and functional. And they have an obsession with work and the improvement. Pisces is kind of dismissive of Virgo. You do whatever feels good and you stay in the flow. So I ask you to take a look, what side are you on? What's going on in your world? And how do you think you are responding? Are you more like the Virgo or the Pisces? Some people may feel that they're sort of in the middle. In some situations, they're like Virgo, and in other situations, they're like Pisces. I'm not sure whether that's a good approach or it's more confusing. I guess that's up to you, the individual. So I'm asking you, are you feeling indecisive and confused, sort of in a fog, and feeling frustrated that the universe, you can't seem to reason with it or make sense of what's going on? When you watch the news at night, if you do, you know, sometimes you just shake your head. Can't believe it. So regardless of what side you're on, if you choose to be the observer, just watching and not picking any side, you're still feeling it at some level. So there's this distinction between desire for perfect order against the absolute chaos. And it's intensified deep within ourselves, and then we project it on others. That's why we be the silent observer for ourselves. We take a step outside of ourselves and say, okay, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking. Where is this coming from? So we've seen out there globally these Twitter wars, chaos in the streets, just this very high level of emotion. And we feel that we're on a precipice of something coming. And I think what we're doing is, and what Anne Stoic says, is that we're moving to a world that's going to be more accountable. That hasn't always been the case. And what else is causing a lot of fear is that authorities are being forced to be more transparent. And as the transparency comes up, we are surprised at what has been going on because we believe what we see on TV. But now the discussion is out in the open. Now, when I listen to Lee Harris, he talks about 4 themes. One is the creative surge continues. The second one is karmic debt coming to the fore for dark energy, and this is beginning to rise. The third one is nothing is as it seems. And fourth, physical response to this energy shift we're in. It's a little different. So you might call this the winds of change. So when we talk about physical symptoms, they can come in quite briefly and last a day or two. And because we're processing at this speed, the energy is moving through us. So our bodies can't really take the magnified and the speed of the energy moving through. And I have to say, this has happened twice this summer. The most recent time was last Saturday. I got up, and as I stood up, I just felt my back go, and before I knew it, I was bent over. I couldn't walk. It was just excruciating pain. I couldn't even stand at the counter to wash the dishes or cook. And I was sitting on a heating pad. And interestingly enough, now I did do some things to help it, but 2 days later, it was gone. Now I still have back problems, but that excruciating sciatic kind of pain was gone. So I think that was probably can be applied to me. Now, when we think about last March, what we were in was what we call a fight-flight response. And when you think of those of you that joined us in that series of meditations in March, the tension and the anxiety and fear was almost palpable. And when you have 50 people online, it is really quite incredible to be on the other end of that. But last 2 months, we sort of started a new phase. And this is transforming from that fear, that fight-flight response, moving into a more creative way of dealing with things. In other words, okay, we don't exactly know where we're going in the future. It's unpredictable, but we have to look at things in a different way. We have to think outside the box and do things differently. Because when you can't solve a problem by keep doing it the same way. That's like hitting your head against a brick wall. So now that we're becoming a little more normalized, what we have noticed from last March that relationships have shifted and changed quite a bit. The work that you've been asked to do has changed, and just having to deal with the consequences of the fallout of all of this. It's just, we seem to be better able to take action. And this coming next couple of months is the time to take action in a creative kind of way. And you'll find that after having those shifts in relationships and sometimes being surprised that who you thought was your friend isn't, and who you thought didn't really cares very deeply. So we've been able to sort of discern what relationships resonate with us. And it's all about vibrational frequency and matching that. And so what we're going to find is that those relationships that we're still in will deepen at a much deeper level. So when we have physical symptoms, this is a way of getting our attention. And those of you that have balance problems or have a tendency to fall or the back goes out, I mean, what better way of getting your attention than creating pain? And so this often happens when we're in the middle of a shift. We're in the middle of transforming. So while we're not happy about having to suffer and being in pain, at least we know we're moving towards something we're transforming. So he also talks about this time about twists and turns. Things show up unexpectedly, and they could be small things, but they're very important. And so your mind, when this happens, it's sort of like being blindsided. When your mind gets its head around it, it wants to panic. So if you can say to yourself, if I've lost it the last 6 months, I can deal with this. So just try to put it in perspective and be aware that there are going to be unpredictable little things that pop up. So he talks about the ground shaking. And because of that, which is a metaphor, and because of this, we need to deepen our presence. You will have the ability to change circumstances. So you might, during this time, be writing a book. You had this time to write a book. There are different changes that had happened, maybe for the good, that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't had COVID. So there's a positive side of looking at all of this too. We're all pieces of this puzzle, and what we're here for is to serve humanity. And so that's what's going on in our minds. Those of us that aren't following our passion path right now, we're looking for it. This is what's going to unfold for you in the next little while. And this is going to relate to collaboration. There's going to be more collaboration. People coming together to combine their talents and their vision. In our circle, Soul Genesis circle, we call it co-regulatory community. That is where leadership has changed in a way. Now the buck stops somewhere in the leadership role, but when we work together in a collaborative kind of way, we lift each other up. So those that are vibrating at a higher frequency will lift the others. And so that's how a collaborative community works. I can't tell you how many times I've held these circles, and there's always somebody who says, I need to be with people of like mind. It is so important. Now, it's easy to say, oh, there's just doom and gloom out there. I just don't know what to do about it, and so on. Just remember that when you join in with that thinking of doom and gloom, that's exactly what you're going to bring into your life. It's just how the law of attraction works. Also, be careful about the partnerships that you create or that you're in, that you resonate with each other on the same level, the same vibrational frequency. Because if one of you is manipulative and saying and doing things that are not in alignment with a friendship or a partnership, ask yourself, what does this person what's in it for this person to disempower you? Because what we're doing is we're empowering, not disempowering. So think about, if this is happening with you, what's in it for them to be doing that? because there is something. So now we're moving into a time when there are many downloads, and there are all kinds of activists out there in the field. But we're moving from a reactionary way of being to a visionary way of being. So if you think back to March and the months following that, there is emotional, physical, visceral response to what's going on in the world. And somewhere within you, you say, I just have to stand up against this. I cannot do anything or nothing anymore. Now we're moving into a more visionary way of being. And in this way, activism is going to be much more effective. And the downloads that we'll be getting are different ways of doing things. So it's a much more productive way of approaching change. So the next thing he talked about was consequences and karma in the next few years. The dark energy, which has been rampant of late, whether it's at a global level, as we've seen in the States, how people seem to have permission to tear each other down, whether it's global or it's happening in our own daily life. Because remember, we're all pieces of the puzzle. So what's happening out there globally is filtering down through our community, our families, our friends, and to us. So basically, these plans that the dark have in dismembering anything of the light, they're going to have to pay the price. It's finally come to terms with the dark's going to have to pay the consequences and the karma. And this is with people who are particularly intent on being intentional about sending shadow energy. So we have to, because of this, we have to be really careful about working on our balance and our centeredness. And really, when all is said and done, it just is what it is. But what we need to know, and this is what's coming, is more power, empowerment, and creativity. It's coming at this time. Now, at times you may have felt overwhelmed. I ask you not to judge yourself. Don't allow people to put pressure on you. You may be going through the dark night of the soul, is what Lee Harris calls it. I call it that too. Actually, I say, when I was going through the dark night of the soul, always has to be said that way. Don't allow that kind of pressure. You take action according to what is right for you. So there's a deep presence that reveals itself, and in relationships as well. So now we're moving into deeper relationships, as I said before. So there's an incredible healing force at work because we're more vulnerable. We've had to become more vulnerable because of the unpredictability of how things have unfolded. Linear timelines have gone astray. And actually, we find ourselves in multidimensional energy with twists and turns. We're more sensory, we're more intuitive, and we may not be able to make out what it is. I was actually talking to somebody yesterday who described some of the experiences they were having intuitively. And she said, I have no idea where it's coming from or what it means. And that's the new normal, actually. So just know that you're having experiences that you can't quite explain. Be aware of your dreams. You're getting downloads in your dreams or in daydreaming, and you may be replaying events. Whatever you're dreaming, stay with it because you might be surprised. there's an app that you can access to use keywords of your dream to get samples of meanings. And when you put it all together, you can discern what that message is for you, because it is definitely a message. We know in our dreams when we're sort of processing the day and when we're actually downloading information. So now we move on to Dale. And as I said, she talks in metaphors. And she talks about this is the process of seeking a mystical connection. The empath who experiences everyone's feelings. And we're aware of that. And hopefully we have learned to know when the energy is ours and when it isn't. That's very important. Otherwise, we could be bombarded with other people's energy and end up burning ourselves out, actually. So she talks about this full moon being very complicated. It's about healing, forgiveness, completion, and release, and to create the new world. So she talks about the two sides as being, you either can paddle upstream or you can go against the current, or you go with the current and let it guide you downstream. And that's how we master through change. She also talks about the lake that is frozen, that hides what is beneath. And so we must find a way to break through that ice. And I talk about actually ice turning into water as transformation. So as we ride these waves and we become even more illuminated, this transformation is going to lead to transmutation. Transmutation is changing from the inside out, and there's no going back. So if you take a look at, and this is probably why you are rerunning events and situations in your life, is probably to see how far you've come in that transformation, because we're all ready to transmute. She also talks about this world feels like we're being trapped in a maze, trying to find a way out. And so she says, one thing that I know is we have to, for our gifts and talents to be shared, first we need to transform ourselves. So remember, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And I'll end with her last missive. Remembering this, you are connected to your sacred center. Whatever lies ahead, you will master of your own destiny, guided by great mystery. Never forget, you are loved always and forever. And we need to keep that thought at the front of our minds, even when we're in that overwhelmed state. And now we're going to move on to the card that I chose on behalf of the group. And it's interesting, this is John Holland's Psychic Tarot of the Heart. And of course, that's what we're talking about, is the heart. And the card I chose was number 1, clarity of belief. And when I looked at it, what I got was that, again, this is demonstrating that we are in the process of change, transformation. But you'll see in the picture that this butterfly is going all over the place. So we don't exactly know, it's not like a straight line. It's just a path we have to follow and let it all unfold. And he has his hand on his heart. So to me, that means that everything there has to be a resonance between the mind and the heart. The heart rules. So here is the picture. Let's see if I can get that. And I'm sure you have other things to think about that's coming to your mind. And I thought this card was very special, and I thought it had a lot to do with what we're talking about. This printing is very small. So the key words are act, create, focus, magic, clarity, and intent. This is a time of great power for you. The manifest card is here to tell you that anything is possible. You have all the tools at your disposal to create whatever you want. You have a variety of tools that can be put to good use. The ability to love unconditionally, to support, to cherish, to listen, to understand, to forgive, to be kind, to be joyful, and even to be silly. All of these are useful tools managing affairs of the heart. And I have to say, being silly was one of the things that got me through the last 6 months. I have a wicked sense of humor. Take some time to determine what are your best tools so that you can use them to work your own unique brand of magic around relationships. Before using these tools to manifest your desires, take some time to be clear on exactly what you want. A magician is always focused on his or her intent before working magic. Remember, being clear about what it is that you want and what you need. You have the ability to manifest what you desire now. So take a moment so there's total clarity. What do you truly need and want? Is it your highest good? Is it the highest good of the other person? Will it harm anyone? Magic and manifestation are powerful. When you come from a place of love, you will generate love. Be clear, be honest in your intent, and take action to manifest your heart's desire. You have what it takes to achieve this. And I'd also like to add, be careful of how you might be self-sabotaging, how you're sabotaging what you plan to do in the future. And it's easy to self-sabotage in these times because they're so uncertain. And it's easy to sort of stick your toe in the water and say, oops, it's too cold, and take a step back. That's why it's so important to align yourself with people who are going to uplift you and are going to call you on your stuff. And there are many reasons why we self-sabotage, and they look very clear that you might not be feeling well, you might have broken your leg, there are family issues, you just can't do it right now. Just be aware that something's working at an unconscious level where you are sabotaging yourself from moving forward. Just a little tip. All right, we're going to move on to the meditation now, and this time it's a little different. This is a ceremony of purification. It's from indigenous people around the world, and what I've done is blend it to meet our needs tonight. So I hope you have your journals with you. And I know we talk about this almost every time we gather together, but what is it that you're grateful for? And be really clear and be specific, because whatever you're grateful for, you're going to bring more of it into your life. And what do you have to let go of? And you might want to change that perspective and word it in a different way. What are you moving away from that you must leave behind to create your new blueprint, your new path? I'll say that again. What are you moving away from that you must leave behind to create your new blueprint or your new path? That's a different way of looking at having to release something. It's really what we're doing is moving away, leaving behind what no longer serves us. What is your intention? We have to be very clear about our intentions. What is it that you need? And we've been through this activity before too, being really clear and thinking about what is it that I really need, just me? And what do you want? Be specific and write them down. Okay, I'm going to light the candle now, and you can light your candles. Here we go. So now we're just going to begin by breathing, and we're going to breathe in to the count of 4, hold to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 4, hold to the count of 4. We're going to do that 3 times. All right, ready? We'll do it together. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Breathe in, Hold. Breathe out. Hold. And one more time. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Very good. The candle is a symbol of transformation as we purify the mind, body, heart, and soul. Imagine the ashes left by a fire. They represent what you have released and what has held you back. The flame represents divine Kundalini energy, a powerful purifying element, especially for negative karma, obstacles, impeding difficulties, and illness. The candlelight brings in the light of the divine into consciousness. It is an invitation and a call to be fully present. Hold your intention and thoughts in your heart and mind. Do that now. Stare into the candle until you become mesmerized. And just allow that sort of light gaze on the flame rather than focusing right on it. And just allow that flame to mesmerize you. And allow yourself to move into an altered state. Deep within your biology, it knows fire and its significance through many generations of ancestors. Tune into that and remember. Imagine yourself sitting around a fire with the elders. Or you may be sitting on a galactic council. Approach with the understanding that you are whole exactly as you are. Step forward to the fire in your wholeness. As you stare at the candle, allow all parts of you, the light and the shadow, to step forward and open to the direction and guidance of spirit. Great Agni of fire, the direct messenger to the spirit realm. In doing this, we purify ourselves and the collective consciousness. Be clear about your purpose to bring good and uplift you and others. Ask to have your words, thoughts, and deeds purified. Now, what does it mean to bring good to yourself and others? Answer that question in your mind's eye. As we do this, place the intention to support one another in healing and a deeper understanding of ourselves and Mother Earth. Go to your heart center and feel the vibration of your intentions, your sincerity in yourselves with this experience imprinted on your psyche. Let it permeate all areas of your life. Your health, your spiritual development, your passion path mission, career and finance, intimate relationships, and fun and friendships. What transformations are taking place that will become transmutation, changing from the inside out? We'll recite the mantra Om Namah Shivaya 3 times. Mantras have the power to unlock the divine within. It's the feeling you get when someone genuinely says a kind word to you. You are co-creating an energetic shift. So let's say it together 3 times. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. In the presence of Agni of fire, he is the direct messenger to the spirit realm. We arrive in wholeness to honor the divine and offer our gratitude. In doing this, we purify ourselves and the collective consciousness. Enlightenment is within our core essence. Allow thoughts and emotions to pass through you like clouds drifting across the sky as you remain in the present moment. And I'll leave that with you to receive your messages as I play the bowls. Now, communicate deep gratitude for the blessings that you have received. Thank the fire and the universal consciousness for receiving you. And we will close by saying Om 3 times. Let's do that together. Om. 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 Peace be with you. So take a few moments and just take your journal and write about your experience. Journaling is good for hindsight because often we forget what we've experienced. So take some time to journal. And if you want to share with me your experience, I'd love to hear about it. You can email me at info@royaltreatmentwellness.com, and Royal is ROYLE, no A in there. Or you can ask to be a friend if you're not on my Facebook page. It's either Judith Royal or the Royal Treatment. And with that, I will close the circle, and I hope you enjoyed your evening. Let the temples of love, light, truth, and wisdom descend. Let them grow and expand. We ask our masters, teachers, and angels to continue to be present as we close the circle. We ask, we give great gratitude for the guidance and direction and the open path that you provided for us tonight. We ask this for continued direction and guidance as we move forward in life and realize our passion path and our new way of doing things. We ask this with a cloak of invisibility to shadow energy in protection light in the highest good of all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye, from my heart to yours.